Today is the 11th annual event for the Louisiana Technology Council Governor Technology Awards. Each year there are 5 recipients honored by those technology awards, which range throughout the educational aspects, private sector aspects of various types of technologies. A focal point this year was on cyber technologies and that of STEM technologies. A recognition today was also for the George Rodriguez Foundation as it relates to their engagement towards the Louisiana A+ school systems, which is A for the arts, which I guess you equals STEM plus A equals STEAM. The arts bring out the creative, innovative juices, so to speak, in youngsters and over the life, of course, which has a major impact towards the mathematics, engineering aspects of the sciences.
And why exactly is cybersecurity and cyber attacks so important right now?
Unfortunately, they are. We're in a mode here as a country and the rest of the free world in more of a being reactionary as opposed to being more responsive, unfortunately. No one ever thought that we would be attacked in the manner by which we're being attacked every day in all fields. So from that, what we have done, the Louisiana Technology Council has brought in a partnership with InfraGuard, which is a program initiated in all states with the FBI. So that partnership was established in April of this year, whereby it is identified as the LTC FBI Cyber Initiative Partnership, of which we are holding its first summit here in Louisiana within the next month, and then what we will do thereafter is bring it more out to the public.
And why exactly is this partnership so important, and how is the public going to benefit from it?
The importance of the partnership is that LTC being a vehicle of private sector, the InfraGuard program is an FBI program. While it does in fact bring together the private sector, it still has the federal guidelines associated with it. So let's just say the LTC can bring in that added vehicle whereby the FBI may have certain restrictions of movement as a federal entity. The FTC does not have that. So we bring value both ways. We can't accomplish alone, nor can they alone. But where we bring it is more of an awareness, more of an interactive venue to the private sector in all vertical markets, medical, academic, educational, petrochemical, and all the other markets completely. So it's a true teaming, bringing together of those individuals and those entities so that we have a better, in front of us, so to speak, a defensive mechanism to assist in fighting cyber.
Okay, and how important will this new defensive mechanism be with all the economic development coming to Louisiana?
The sad part in this is that there is no the answer to this. It is an ongoing work in progress just by nature of technology types and how attacks are occurring. While China, in a lot of our minds, or our partners, we're realizing that they are one of our worst enemies. We are being attacked by China. This is not a public announcement for the first time. You can read it now in the paper. Same thing with Russia. They are stealing our technologies. The question you bring up about how does that impact our economy, every day impacts our economy. Also noted in the paper, in the media, is China would like nothing better than to bring down the dollar bill, whereby it would not be the international trade of commerce, so to speak, of money. They want to bring theirs in, and they've been working that heavily since 9/11.
What exactly is FIRST Robotics?
FIRST Robotics stands for the Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. It's essentially an organization that allows students to build robots, but really is learning STEM in disguise: science, technology, engineering, mathematics, the arts. And so while they build a robot, they're learning things like engineering skills or how to put things together, hands-on, especially for a lot of the kids that are in high school. They may not ever have that experience.
Okay, and why is that important, and how does it differ from normal STEM programs?
Normal STEM programs, while they're good and some are very, very effective, don't give you the hands-on learning that this does. What's good about FIRST specifically is it extends not only into high school, but you start off as young as kindergarten, and it takes you from kindergarten all the way up with different programs that build you into the person that you're going to be when you graduate. And so when you go to college, you already have the hands-on learning, you're getting scholarships, because FIRST provides a lot of scholarships for students. There's a lot of good things that go on with it.
Okay, what is the size of the program?
The size of the program in the state right now, I believe we have approximately 150 teams. Nationally, there are thousands of teams. When we have our World Championship, which is in St. Louis, 45,000 people show up on average. And so it's a good number.
Okay, and tell me about the awards you won, Outstanding Leadership in STEM.
Well, this was actually for Carolyn Arthur, who's our regional director. Her job is to make sure everything flows smoothly. She helps recruit teams. She helps organize our regional, which goes on in New Orleans, called the Bayou Regional. She works with a lot of other partners to make sure the entire program flows smoothly and that really it expands as fast as it can expand.
Okay, and where can people get more information?
You can go to www.usfirst.org.
Albemarle is a specialty chemicals company. We are in about 100 countries around the world. We are headquartered here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay, and why is STEM so important to your company?
Well, we are a scientific company. We hire a great deal of engineers and chemists, and a lot of what we do requires a deep background in technology and engineering.
And how do you feel that these STEM programs in high school are impacting the type of students that Louisiana is producing?
This is vital. It's laying the foundation for the future workforce that Louisiana needs. This is an area that we really need to strengthen, and I've been very impressed by everything I've seen here.
Why exactly is the partnership between government and industry, private sector, so important?
Well, there's a lot of things that industry can do very well, and a lot of things that government can arguably do very well too. And it really helps when we have the public-private sector cooperation to do better than we can on our own.
Okay, and is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I really am glad to see the size of the gathering today, and it was wonderful to see the kids and the robotics exercises. I'm proud to be part of this.
SDMI is an applied research institute. We specialize in thought leadership and disaster management. We're a life-saving entity. We apply research to help decision makers with on-time information and new capabilities and new ways to do business in disaster management.
Okay, and why exactly is that important to the people of Louisiana?
Well, as you know, many tell us that we're the most disaster-prone jurisdiction in the world, certainly in the United States. And the other side of that is that we have a lot of experience in Louisiana. We have done some fantastic things in the field of disaster and emergency management. And so we're using those lessons that we've learned to share them with the rest of the world so they don't have to go through what we went through. And that includes some of the technologies and the practices and the thought leadership that Louisiana has become famous for over the years.
Okay, and what are some of those things specifically?
For instance, our evacuation planning is one that comes to the forefront right away. Our ability to handle shelter evacuees, and not just persons, also animals and critical care patients, and also our ability to look at forecasting. LSU has done some modeling and forecasting, and we produce some of the most sophisticated models on estimating where storm damage is going to occur and what the economic consequences of those damages are going to be.
Okay, and what role does STEM play into that?
You know, for us, STEM is something that we support, and we're trying to support it in a bigger way. Some of the technologies that SDMI is using and developing include GIS and cybersecurity techniques and technologies, and so we're trying to share those in K through 12 as well. And in fact, SDMI is looking for ways where we can help train students to use sciences in disaster management, emergency management, cybersecurity, and other ways to protect our valuable resources.
Hey, why do you feel that it's so important for students to start learning these types of things early on in their education?
Well, as it turns out, we haven't been graduating a lot of STEM graduates in the United States. It's a nationwide problem. In fact, it's largely a worldwide problem. But in particular, the United States has gotten behind the curve on this. And as you know, technology is the emerging way we do everything now. It's the way we communicate, it's the way we do business, it's the way we operate as a society, and it's undergirding, it's even redefining some of our understandings of culture. And so to keep up with the rest of the world and defend the technological edge that we have, it is urgent that the United States do a better job of training, educating, and graduating qualified and competent STEM graduates.
Hey, tell me about the award that you won today.
Our award today was on the application of cyber technology, and we did that through our disaster management work. So SDMI is part of an LSU initiative. We're actually the spear point of an initiative to help decision makers from the private sector as well as the public sector and civil government and the military and intelligence communities as well use technology to make better decisions to defend cyber networks from cyber attack.
Tell me, why exactly is LSU and university level so important in cybersecurity?
That's a great question. You know, the importance of LSU. LSU, as you know, is Louisiana's flagship university, land grant, sea grant, space grant university, and SDMI is part of LSU's community service obligation. We're part of that section of LSU that touches the general public. And so LSU and SDMI in particular is the spear point of cyber and the collaboration point between the private sector, civil government, military, and all the other factors that are involved here. We're that middle ground. And so we're inviting people to come together, and we're transitioning capability into, they're helping us identify what the needs are. We're finding subject matter expertise and products and capability that we can move and lay on solutions. So in a sense, we're finding problems and we're finding ways to fix them. And that's what LSU does, and in particular, SDMI was set up to apply that research to real-time problems, solve problems, and save lives. You can contact me. My email address at LSU is jbooth, then the number 7, at lsu.edu, or you can give me a ring in my office at 225-578-2865.
Basically, anytime there's some type of cyber breach, whether it's computer intrusions, we actually go to the victim, we investigate it to determine how much loss or damage has been done, as well as we help them mitigate to recover from the breach.
How big of a problem is that exactly?
Cyber is actually number 3 threat for the FBI, and within the next few years we're predicting it's going to be the number 1 threat. So that lets you know how huge it is as far as the priorities within the FBI.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people today discuss a partnership with private sector and government. How is that beneficial?
Well, we have so many cyber attacks. The only way to help mitigate some of these attacks is bring awareness to the community. So we partner up with a lot of the organizations, universities here in Louisiana, and bring awareness. And that's the first line of defense. And then once there is an attack, they have a point of contact, as well as they know exactly who to contact to help mitigate those attacks. I just like to bring awareness. First line of defense is always to know that you can be attacked, and it's not when. Eventually, you will be. And to the companies here in Louisiana, we want to let them know that you need to put resources towards cyber, towards your network to protect it. And then once something happens, call the FBI. We're here to work with you to try to mitigate those attacks.
Okay, for companies to get information about how to partner with you before the attacks, where can they go for that?
They could go to infraguard.org. They have information there, as well as FBI and DHS also have information in regards to cyber and some of the attacks and vulnerabilities that we're facing.
You've been involved in quite a few technology advances. Describe some of those.
Well, I'm fortunate to surround myself with people that are a lot smarter, like Allison Martin, who's developed the BIPSI Open Campus, which is a nation leading. It's the first time they've taken the developmental course sequence and put it online in an open source. We're now in 88 countries. Over 30,000 students have participated in it. It's truly an innovative piece of work that's expanding access to higher education. We also have a very accomplished cyber technology division that is a national center of academic excellence. They've achieved all 6 of the Committee on National Security Standards certifications for our cyber program. So we're developing a whole new cyber workforce. How cool is it to be a cyber warrior when you're coming out of high school? Go right into that kind of program. And we continue to develop ways to take IT competencies that are a foundation for so many career paths that are out there and embed those in all of our programs. It's truly an exciting time to be in the STEM field.
Okay, and why exactly is STEM so important to young students?
Well, STEM has become, and technology just in and of itself has become such a constant in every career that's out there. It's all based in technology, and technology is just increasing at exponential rates. And so it's changed the nature of the workforce. In fact, over half the jobs we have in 2020 that have been in top demand don't even exist today. And it's all a product of technology. So we've got to teach students how to think critically, how to solve problems, how to communicate effectively. All of those are embedded in STEM careers. But we also have to give them that real strong foundation in information technology.
Okay, and tell me about the award that you won today.
You know, this was such a surprise, but like all things that happen to community college chancellors and university presidents, it's really, you get the credit for the work of a lot of other folks. And I'm so fortunate to work with what I think is the most innovative and creative faculty and staff at Bossier Parish Community College. Very similar to the group that I'm going to inherit at Northwestern State University. They're the teams that really push this type of innovation forward. It's our jobs as leaders in higher education to create systems where they can explore their creativity and really create transformational work for our students and our employers.
And where can people get more information?
You know, you can go to our website, www.bpcc.edu or www.nsula.edu.
So our foundation advocates for the use of arts within all curriculums, because when you use arts in schools, it really engages the students and they test better and they want to come to school because they enjoy it.
How do arts integrate with the rest of STEM to create successful students?
So we like to turn STEM into STEAM by adding that arts to the science, technology, engineering, and math, because it really encourages creativity. That's a piece that's so important to the jobs of the future in all of those areas, because they need to be able to solve those problems of the 21st century.
Okay. And in what ways does your organization reach out to these students?
So we have a few programs, including Louisiana A+ schools, where we actually train entire faculties how to use the arts in their classes every day.
Okay, and what's the size of the program?
So we currently have 9 schools that are Louisiana A+ schools. Their entire faculties, about 500 teachers, have been trained on arts integrated programming, and we'll add about 5 to 10 new schools to the network every year.
Okay, and tell me about the award that you won today.
So the award that I got was in recognition of the work of my dad, George Rodrigue, and our foundation has done to really help the schools in Louisiana understand the importance of the arts.
Okay, and where can people get more information?
You can always visit our website, rodriguefoundation.org, to learn more about Louisiana A+ schools and our other programs.
We are here as a title sponsor for the Governor Technology Awards, and we're extremely proud of that with LTC.
Okay, and why is technology important?
Technology is important because it drives the future. Drives the future of business, of higher education, how we interact with the world around us, and we couldn't be more proud of being part of that future.
Okay, in what ways has Blackboard contributed?
Well, Blackboard is the leading company in education, technology, and services. We have over 1,000 clients worldwide, and we help the learner, the student, interact with the institution and the faculty member. And we have a ton of other solutions that help the learning process. And now we're really excited to announce that we're going to be in the student outcomes piece as well, helping students find internships and full-time positions across the country, all enabled with technology. So we're excited.
Okay, and is there anything else you'd like to add?
We're just extremely proud of being the title sponsor for 2 years in a row here at Louisiana Technology Council, and we look forward to many more years of helping the state of Louisiana grow and helping the students develop.
STEM are basically what the jobs are. Here in Louisiana we have over 5,000 jobs in STEM disciplines that we need to fill, so we need to educate our students, and that's what LSU is doing right now. We're expanding the College of Engineering, a brand new College of Engineering, $110 million of a brand new building, doubling computer science majors and engineers to fill these needs.
Okay, and in what way is this going to benefit our state?
Well, it's economic development. So by developing talent, by having these people these students get really great jobs, and recruiting companies to Louisiana that are high technology on STEM disciplines, we are developing our economy.
Okay, and how are events like this so beneficial to the private sector, the government sector, the education sector?
Well, this event here, the Louisiana Technology event that we witnessed tonight, is great because you see the whole spectrum of activities from K-1 through 12 all the way to higher education. And the number of things that we witnessed are extremely important because we have to reach students very early on and develop them even through higher education for filling the needs of industry.
Okay, and what ways can we reach these younger students?
Well, with all these programs that we just witnessed today, through specific educational programs that reach elementary schools, high schools, and also specific programs at community colleges and ultimately at higher education.
And where can people get more information?
Well, LSU.edu, www.lsu.edu. LSU is the flagship university that leads the state in STEM-related disciplines. So there's a lot of information there, and we're happy to provide it. We're very excited that the state of Louisiana has a very bright future, and that LSU is leading this effort together with partnering with all other higher institutions in Louisiana. So I think it's going to get better and better for us. There's $100 billion of new projects in Louisiana, $300 billion over the next 5 to 10 years. So we're very excited to be part of this future success story.
The Institute was set up shortly after Katrina, and its mission is to use applied research to improve emergency management to protect the lives of both people and animals. And again, I want to emphasize the word applied. We're taking the best ideas and projects to make those improvements to actually put them into place.
Okay, and how does technology tie into all that?
Well, technology is a major piece of that. Our cyber lab that is being constructed is going to be able to be used with a number of our partners, including the Louisiana National Guard, but also the private sector. And with all of the industry and business that is coming into Louisiana and that already exists here, this will give us an opportunity to help those IT folks, and especially those that have SCADA systems, learn about how to protect those systems.
Hey, why is it so important to encourage private sector and government sector to partner together?
Well, again, although all emergencies are local and there's a lot of resources on the public side, it's really the private sector that's the backbone. That's where most of the resources come from in order to make a community recover quicker.
Yeah, and what types of things can they learn from each other?
Well, again, working together. That's the main thing, sharing information so that way communities become more resilient. And when communities are more resilient, then that recovery is, after an event is more quickly put into place.
Okay, and why is STEM so important to your institute and starting it early?
Well, right now you know that we need more students that are taking the STEM type courses. There's a lot of opportunity in these industries and businesses across the state that are looking for this type of talent.
The Port of South Louisiana is the largest tonnage port in the Western Hemisphere, one of the largest ports in the world. It's a major critical infrastructure in the United States. It connects to so many different critical infrastructures, oil and gas, grain. 60% of the grain comes in and out of the Port of South Louisiana. So it's a major key resource to the United States and Louisiana.
And how exactly does technology play into the port?
Very much so. The Port of South Louisiana signed an MOU. Cybersecurity is a major issue right now with and the port. We actually have a partnership with the FBI that I'm assigned to the FBI Cyber Task Force.
And tell me a little bit about that.
The Cyber Task Force, basically, we're the cyber version of the Joint Terrorist Task Force, the cyber version of that. So if there's a cyber incident that we do outreach, but also if there's a cyber incident within our jurisdiction, Lower Mississippi River, we have a response mechanism. And we also tied into other different government agencies, i.e. Coast Guard, and so forth.
How big of a problem exactly is cyber attack?
Cyber is extremely important. Cyber is to the point now where there's more chance of a cyber incident than actually a physical type terrorist incident. Okay. It's much easier to sit at your home and attack somebody behind a computer where nobody recognizes you than to actually go out and try to attack a target physically where everybody's watching you.
Okay, and tell me about the award that you won today.
It was the Growth Award, and I received that being as the president of InfraGard, our InfraGard Louisiana, we received the Growth Organization of the Year. Actually, I received it as president of Louisiana InfraGard.
And in what ways have you grown?
Infragard, our Infragard Louisiana chapter is recognized nationally as one of the top chapters out of 84 chapters in the United States. A couple of we lead the country in a couple of projects, one being the Louisiana School Safety Initiative Multi-Hazard Toolkit that you can actually access on our website, is islama.typepad.com. Other projects that we've done that we're a leader in is the next generation reentry credentialing program for reentry credentialing after major disasters such as a hurricane. That's actually has been adopted by other states, and it's actually on the state police website right now. We're an innovative leader as far as that. And basically what Infragard's a public-private partnership between the FBI and the 16 defined critical sectors.
Okay, and where can people get more information?
In order to get more information on Infragard, you can go to Infragard, infragard.org.
It's a great opportunity to create a community partnership that brings in folks from higher education, from industry, for industry organizations like LTC, as well as state government, Louisiana Economic Development, to really put forth an agenda of how we're going to continue to move the state forward in the areas of STEM education and cyber intelligence. That's the first. Second, it's always important to celebrate. I think that too often people are discouraged or people feel like, well, there's still some big problems out there, but we need to encourage and celebrate the progress that we're making. And I think last thing is the networking. I think that a lot of times people are working so hard that they have their heads down that you don't always realize that the connections that maybe one or two phone calls or even 2 blocks away from you. So I think that today allows us to do all three.
Okay, in what ways does technology tie into Louisiana's economic development?
Well, they tie in 3 ways. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in a global competition for talent. And so we have to be better about preparing our talent to have the jobs of tomorrow. 2, technology ties into a lot of the jobs are basically knowledge sector jobs. So we talk about growing software development, we talk about cyber security, we talk about cyber intelligence, we talk about life sciences and bioengineering. All those jobs rely on continued technological innovation. And then last, it's our children. Our children are, I've got 3 kids, all of them are certainly much more technology savvy innately than I am. And so if we want to continue to have opportunities for our young people and be able to communicate with them, we have to be fluent in technology.
Okay, and is there anything else you would like to add?
I just want to thank you, and I want to thank Louisiana Technology Council and congratulate all the awardees.
And where can people get more information?
They can get more information on Louisiana Economic Development at www.opportunitylouisiana.com.
And it's these young people that are going to make Louisiana the type of state where your children and grandchildren can have the type of careers that they want to have. And so we need to encourage them and we need to salute them. Second, I would be remiss if I didn't celebrate the veterans in the room. I am the son of a lieutenant colonel. He's deceased now. He didn't go overseas, but he was one of the military officers that protected James Meredith when James Meredith integrated Ole Miss. So we have a strong military tradition in our family. And then my daughter is a Lance Corporal in the U.S. Marines stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina. So I want to salute the veterans in the room again. Please join me. And then lastly, as my pastor would say, if you say amen, I won't take long. So I encourage audience, amen. Malcolm Meyer already he got it. He got the memo. So I want to encourage you to encourage me, because part of the challenge facing us is to really redefine how we discuss Louisiana. You know, if you really think about it, we have tremendous cultural advantages, resiliency advantages, but we don't have the swag yet of our neighbor to the west. So what I want to do, if I'm successful, is convince you by the end of this presentation why you should feel uber confident about being a Louisianan. As I tell people, I'm a Floridian by birth, but Louisianan by choice. We've got to have that sensibility more often. So let's begin. So at the end of the day, this is nothing new. We matter. That's a pretty powerful quote if you really think about it. You basically have our third president talking to Robert Livingston, who I believe is related to the former Louisiana congressman, about why we matter. We've mattered since the beginning of our nation, and we continue to matter now. So I work for LED. We are essentially the state's cheerleader. We go out and try to tell people why they need to relocate their companies here in Louisiana. But I get paid to say that. This is someone, Gameloft, in New Orleans, a French company that could have relocated anywhere in the world, and they decided to come to New Orleans. And I think it's really profound what they have said. Talent, interesting culture, great background. We found that a lot of people would be interested in going here. We are increasingly becoming a magnet for talent. Well, I'm a football fanatic. And although it was a tough weekend in Tiger Stadium as well as the Super Bowl, I do recognize that we like poll results. We like to know how we do. And as important it is for LSU football to be number one, I would argue it's more important for our business climate to be number one. This is the first time in our state history that we were selected the number one state by a nationally recognized publication, Business Facility, for business climate. What does that mean? We are a state that companies internationally, nationally recognize as being ready and open for business. So I talked about swag earlier. We've got proof. There were years in which people left the state because they were concerned that they were not going to be able to live the fullness of the American dream here in the state. We have arrested that over the last 7 years. There are people coming into the state, and this is not a function of people coming back after Katrina. As you can see with the asterisks there, these numbers are, the Katrina remigration numbers are excluded. So at the end of the day, people are coming to Louisiana because there's something magical happening here. Got a lot of work to do. We haven't completed the mission, but we're well on our way. Going back to a football analogy, we have the opportunity to come out after halftime and compete and win. So what this basically says is over the next 5 years, Louisiana is anticipated to grow 16th fastest in job growth. So you may say, Jan, big deal, why does that matter? Job growth creates opportunities. Opportunities create cultural amenities. They allow for the tax base to be there to support higher ed, to support K-12, to be about the things that Louisiana Technology Council and all of you in this room will like to see us to invest more resources into. Jack Rogers is the editor-in-chief of Business Facilities. We were number one. He's essentially saying we have the ingredients in place to win. Going back to a sports analogy, it's 3 phases of every football game: offense, defense, special teams. We are winning at every phase of the game here in Louisiana. The last phase is we need you, the 12th man, to roar in the crowd, to begin in your personal life being ambassadors for this state. Too often I meet Louisianans and they ask me, why would you ever move to Louisiana? I've lived in New York for years. I was there after 9/11. no matter on New York's worst day, no one would ever ask you why you're there. Of course you want to be in New York. The answer for us has to be, of course you want to be in Louisiana. So how does this tie into the Louisiana Technology Council? Louisiana has a rich history, success in the oil and gas industry, success in agribusiness, success in seafood, success in tourism. But we realize if we're going to compete, if we're going to win the global competition for talent, we have to begin to focus on those industries tomorrow. Quick question, how many of you ever heard of a guy named Wayne Gretzky? Well, for those of you who don't know Wayne Gretzky, he was arguably one of the greatest hockey players ever. And arguably, he was almost Jordan-like in his sport. He was not a big man. He was not particularly fast. He was not particularly physical. But if you ask Wayne Gretzky why was he so successful, he said, I skated to where the puck was going to be. That ability to anticipate, that ability to see around the corner, that's what we've tried to do, and that's why it's critically important that we're partnering and we need to support Louisiana Technology Council and other similar institutions, our institutions of higher education. I see our new president of Northwestern State, Jim Henderson, who's been a tremendous partner of LED over the years. I see others in higher ed. We've got to support them because if we don't have the talent, that's the only gating item. That could be the game changer. Just like in football, you can have the greatest game plan, but if you don't have the men on the field that can run fast, run through the whistle, and know how to execute, you're not going to be successful. I just want to highlight one of the areas that we're focused upon is digital media and software development, which ties in very nicely to cyber intelligence and cybersecurity. One of the things that my boss, Secretary Stephen Moray, you saw him on the video earlier, has focused upon along with Governor Bobby Jindal, is really trying to figure out how to bring a greater partnership between higher education and industry. A big part of our landmark wins has been our ability to answer the question, and I know you in this room think this is a silly question, but this is really a real question. Are there smart people in Louisiana? There are companies, there are people outside who think we're great at partying, we're great at football, great at jazz, great at music, but we're not smart. Well, that's hogwash. I would say something else, but I think I'm being taped. At the end of the day, we are proving to people that we can think, we can be creative, and we can customize solutions that are responsive to the needs of companies. So, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We've got a lot of work to do. We haven't solved the problems yet. We're still a high poverty state. We still have too many of our fellow citizens not fully being able to be economically competitive, but we're making tremendous investments in higher education. The WISE Fund is something that's going to be a part of that. And this just simply gives you some of the numbers, because what we're doing, we're saying to higher education, look, let's be smart about our investment. Let's go where the puck's going to be. And that's what we're doing with WISE. Also, a big part of it, we all want to go to college. I think we all should aspire to that. I loved college. Some people say I loved it too much. I spent an extra year there. But at the end of the day, not everybody wants to go to a 4-year institution. 2-year colleges are college. That's first off. We need to correct that misconception. 2-year colleges are colleges. And more importantly, there are 2-year occupations that we have critical needs for. And we've invested into our LCTCS, and President Henderson, who was formerly at Bossier, is now at Northwestern State, was a part of that and was one of our innovative thinkers in that. So I talked about the global competition for talent. We at LED have realized that we need to do a great job of connecting people with opportunity. How many of you have family members who would move back to Louisiana if they had a job? in Louisiana? Raise your hand. Be honest. Okay. We've got a solution. Please take down that web address, louisianajobconnection.com. That is a website where we're connecting people who want to be in Louisiana with Louisiana jobs. It's specially matched. My colleague, our Senior Director of Marketing Communication, describes it as Match.com married to Monster. We are going to get people connected to unique opportunities. Last, a big part of it is educating people on what's happening here in Louisiana. When a company that's based in France decides to open a significant U.S. operation, they want to be able to know that there are amenities there. When Bentler Steel, that's a German or Austrian firm, decides to relocate at the port of Cattle-Bossier, they want to know that there are amenities there. They want to know that their people will be able to feel comfortable in Louisiana. These websites basically say, hey, look, we're beyond LSU or Southern football or Tech basketball or Saints football or great festivals. All that's wonderful. But here are cultural amenities. Here are job opportunities for trailing spouses. I would encourage you, if you're trying to convince people from your companies or your family members to come back, take a look at those websites. So, why does all this matter? Job growth is great. All of us who work at LED are motivated and focused upon trying to add approximately 40,000 net new jobs in each of the next 20 years. That, if we grow at that rate, that will allow us to grow at a peer rate of North Carolina, Georgia, and Texas, which have been some of the leading growth states in the South and nationally over the last 20 years. So what does that mean? That means that we're creating real opportunity. We will eventually be able to reduce poverty. We will be able to have amenities. We'll be able to support not-for-profits. We'll be able to support higher ed. We will be able to expand government revenues without increasing taxes. This is real stuff. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where this is not just about jobs, but it's about transforming a state fundamentally. And so, in closing, I want to thank you for coming out. I want to thank our veterans for their service. I want to thank our young people for sacrificing and trying to change the world through the power of their minds. And I want to encourage each of you to be an ambassador. If you have questions or comments, my information is there. Thank you, and God bless you.
The Planning, Assessment, and Institutional Research Department is the hub of receiving data and transmitting data throughout the institution, as well as providing state and federal reports to different entities that are for accreditation or for simply to the legislature or things along those lines.
Hey, tell me about the award that you won today.
I won the Outstanding Leadership Award in Technology due to my efforts in cybersecurity and my work in cyber forensics and building and developing programs throughout the InfraGard program, as well as promoting this at Southern University.
Okay, there's a lot of talk about cybersecurity. How big of a problem is it, and what can we do to correct it?
Right now, it's one of the top 5 biggest problems in the country. In that 5 years, they look for it to be number 1. The things that we can do to promote it and protect ourselves against that situation is that we're looking at the development of new resources, as in employees, new programs, institutional resources along those lines.
Okay, and is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just happy to be here. I thank LTC and LED for all their efforts.
Where can people get more information?
They can either go to the InfraGard website, or they can get information at Southern University, www.subr.edu/PAIR, P-A-I-R.
Some people have called us lobbyists. Some people have called us governmental consultants. I like to call us the gel. the gel that functions between government and the public sector and the private sector. We're a different type of firm. We're very proactive. We reach out to try to find the solutions before they occur. We try to bridge where we see potential roadblocks or we see potential cooperative freeways, if you will, with the public and the private sector, and we actively go after them. We're not your chicken in the egg, sit on the egg and wait for it to hatch in the halls of legislative, we figure that once it gets to a legislative body, if you're sitting on an egg waiting for it to hatch, there are people like me that had a plan and we're out there a lot earlier, and not bragging about what we do, but it does make things a little bit easier.
Hey, why is it important that public and private sector partner together?
It's extremely important. We did this during World War II and somehow we got away from it, but the innovation and the enterprise coming out of the American private sector, there isn't any reason why that we can't transfer those best practices to the public sector, to the governmental sector. Somewhere along the line, I think that people started to ferment this attitude of, well, I don't really trust the government, and the private sector was, well, it's all ours and we're just going to sell it to everybody else. But we kind of lost our way a little bit of, yeah, we're all going to benefit from world commerce, but America first. And when it comes to something like defending the United States of America, you have to use best practices. You have to combine resources. I mean, look what happened during World War II. A lot of people don't remember this nowadays, but GM started manufacturing Jeeps. All the companies out there, they were either building some type of airplane, cannon, what have you. But now the battlefield is very different. The battlefield takes place in a digital, invisible environment. And if you want to talk, this is good on many fronts, and one of the unforeseen fronts is that it raises awareness in front of the U.S. public. Because the U.S. public right now, this issue is flying so low under their radar that it's something that really needs to be brought to the level of collective consciousness. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but so be it. So yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it and happy to function in that world between the public and the private sector, because sometimes I think of myself as more like a specialized interpreter. They don't speak the same language, and God bless me with communication skills, so I'll take advantage of that. That's what I do.
Okay, what are some of the types of things that they can learn from each other?
Well, the government can learn to be not so rigid as to have to wake up every day and put square pegs in square holes, and realize that sometimes it's way beyond that. It's a bunch of different shapes floating up in an atmosphere that we know nothing about, but that's fine. Let's charter into some unknown territory, because on the private sector, that's something that they do. There's a great song that I follow in life. It's called Hang On Loosely But Don't Let Go, because if you hold on too tight, you lose control. And I think they both have that kind of atmosphere to learn from each other. Yes, you can be very rigid, and I think in the private sector we can as well, but still one force is driven differently. One is driven not so much by motivation of financial gain or enterprise, or one is more or less driven by orders driven. This is your orders from up high, this is what you've got to accomplish today. Whereas the private sector is all about, let's come in and see what we can innovate today. So it's just different approaches to the same problem at different rates.
Okay, to help put it into perspective for people, what is a specific example of a time that this partnership has benefited?
Well, like I mentioned before, obviously during World War II, any time that we've been in a situation, and look, I think it's unfortunate that on a whole, humanity cannot realize and get together as one and go, oh, gee whiz, it's this tribe trying to beat up on this tribe. But unfortunately, that's where we are, and we do have some, and people say, Adrian, I was a Marine for a long time. They say, why do we still have to act like this? And I say, because as long as there's one bad person out there on the sandlot that picks up a stone and throws it at the other kid, there has to be somebody who's going to step up and say, you can't do that. So that's why. And so a specific example, you look at something recently like Desert Storm. I look back at something like Desert Storm, where we were dealing with battlefield technology that was to see at night. We were getting all of our night vision equipment from a private company. Fast forward to Afghanistan a lot later and look at the equipment that they have on the battlefield. Whereas in 1991, all I could see was like a couple of little green dots running around. Now they can visualize an entire battlefield matrix. It's unbelievable what they do. I hate to use the military analogy there with you. I wish I had more of a civilian analogy, but the government can help increase and promote something in the face of where there is no increase in promotion of something specific. And that's a good function. And that's something that the private sector has to pay to do. But the government over time, look, The government took radar technology and made that popular, radio technology and made that popular. GPS was originally a military thing, and it was intentionally set 5 degrees off. A lot of people don't know that, so they'd wind up in the wrong space, so they weren't using the military's version of it. So there.
Okay. And where can people get more information?
They can go to our website, which is Gulf South. It's GulfSouthStrategies.com, and then there's also GulfSouthConsulting.com as well. They can go to.
Okay. How big of an issue is cybersecurity?
According to the FBI, according to statistics, the biggest problem we have as a nation attacking our economy is cybersecurity. So,
And in what ways is LTC working to correct that?
okay. Part of the cybersecurity initiative with the FBI is pulling together different disciplines, education, government, private sector specialists, and what we're doing is working on information so that we can communicate it out and share these practices. We can recruit and educate talent, and then we can take action on it. So,
And what exactly happened here today?
we had the Governor's Technology Award, so we recognized some of the companies in Louisiana who were best in their field over the last year.
And why are events such as this important?
The biggest reason that this event is important is it highlights the positives inside Louisiana and shows the world the talent and the software capabilities and cybersecurity capabilities we have in Louisiana.
Okay. And what exactly does Louisiana have to offer the world in that respect?
We have a lot of assets that we need to protect. So we're the largest port in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of infrastructure that we've got to protect. So because of that, we've got to develop ourselves the cybersecurity talent to make that protection. Cyber attacks is the biggest issue the U.S. has is facing its economy. We have countries, corporations that are trying to take our data, take our information, take our money. So it's up to us to find the talent and the methods to protect us.
And in what ways are we going about finding the talent and the methods?
Okay, we're doing events like today for an awareness. We're also recruiting at schools and universities. We're also developing internships with companies that are already rolling out the information.
Okay, there was a lot of talk today about the younger students, K through 12, and their experiences with STEM. How is that beneficial to what LTC is working toward?
Okay. LTC has 2 initiatives, which is STEM and cybersecurity. What we found is if we bring these initiatives to younger kids, that they get interested in it, and the ones that have aptitude for it start picking it up, and they carry it into college and carry it into their career. Usually, if they get involved early, they're better at it.
Just that these type of programs that we held today brings together a variety of from academics, of a variety of individuals and corporations. The best result will always come from the best of minds at a table communicating with one another. So there is no one person, nor any one the answer, but collectively bringing these elements together, it allows for just a better, best result of practice.
Okay, and where can people get more information?
People get more information. We are, by the way, because of the changes both with the FBI and LTC, yes, we have websites. You can go to the Louisiana Technology Council website. You can also go to the FBI InfoGuard website. Due to the changes, and actually very positively the advancements of it, we are presently changing those websites, but yet it's still informative.